Hello and welcome to Baking on a Budget. Now this time what we have is this very simple summer trifle. Yes, a beautiful simple trifle for the summer. It is summertime here in the UK right now, and what better thing than on a nice hot afternoon, nice bowl of trifle. It's going to be great. Now we have everything we need to make it over here, and I'm going to run through this, tell you exactly what we've got and how much all of this cost me. To begin with, we're going to use half a tin of this fruit cocktail, which will cost 54 pence. We're going to use half of this slab of jelly, which will be 47 pence. We have 3 eggs at 42 pence. We have 400 ml of milk at 24 pence. We have 500 ml of double cream at £1.37. We have 2 teaspoons of corn flour at about 4 pence. We have 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence at 12 pence. And we have 50 grams of sugar at 6 pence. The total cost of this trifle then is £3.26. We're going to get 6 beautiful servings out of that, making it 53 pence per serving. There's about a litre of trifle going to be made here. I did look, just as an aside, I looked at some of the Asda ones. They were slightly cheaper, but they're only 600 ml. So you wouldn't get anything like the same amount of servings. And this custard, homemade custard in this trifle, is going to be fantastic. So first things first, let's do the jelly and the fruit. Right, so first thing we want to do is melt some of this jelly. I'm only using half of this. It says that this jelly will make about 600 ml of jelly in terms of water, but since we're only going to have 300, I'll just use half of this. Now, this is difficult to tear apart. I do prefer to use the scissors with it. Now, this is a raspberry jelly I'm using. Obviously, the jelly of your choice would work just fine. We're going to pour a little boiling water over that. I'm going to let that sit for a little while until it starts to melt down. Making a trifle, there's a few setting times involved. Obviously, this jelly will have to set, and I'm actually making this the day before I will sort of complete it. And I'm going to leave this in the fridge overnight. We want it to be nice and set before we get the custard on top of here. And as I say, this is going to be a beautiful homemade custard. Going to be absolutely delicious. In the meantime, we have half a tin of fruit cocktail. Now, the fruit of your choice. You could put fresh fruit in there, you could put all peaches, pineapples, whatever you want really. But I like this. This is a good mix. We've got some pineapple in there, we've got a little bit of mango, I think, some peaches, and there's even a solitary grape. So this will be very good. So what I'm going to do is just top that up to 300 ml with cold water. And then the simplicity of this really, we want to pour this over the top. Actually, I'm going to say that would do. Would that do? A little bit more. Right, probably used about 250 ml of that, and that looks proportionate to me. So what I'm going to do is just leave that out for a little while until the water cools. Then I'm going to put it in the fridge. When the next time we come back to this, we're going to make a beautiful layer of vanilla custard. And what we have here is 400 ml of whole milk. That's going in the pan. And to go with it, we have 100 ml of double cream. And we'll just get all of that out of there. Very good. Now the pan's going over a low heat, and I want to bring this to practically a boil. It doesn't want to be a rolling boil, but we want to simmer, we want it bubbling. So we're going to have to keep it stirring when it gets to that point. But for now, I'm just going to put this on low heat on the hob. And whilst that is doing its thing, we'll get the rest of this ingredients put together. We have 3 eggs into the bowl. To that, we are adding 50 grams of sugar, along with a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And to that, we have got 2 teaspoons of corn flour or cornstarch in the bowl. Now, we're just going to mix all this together. Let's break those yolks up. And we want all this to combine nicely for the base of our custard. And get all the lumps of the cornstarch out of there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just keep an eye on the milk and cream which is on the hob. And with this, when it's coming up to temperature, we need to keep it stirring. We don't want it to burn on the bottom, and we don't want it to bubble over. but now that we've got an eye on it, we can turn the heat up a little. And the idea is just to keep on stirring this until, as I say, it starts to bubble a little around the edges here. That will be fine. Okay, and I'm saying that's about it there. It's just starting to quiver a little on the top when it's left to settle. Bubbling around the edges, practically there. Right, so I'm going to take this off now and I'm going to cool it down a little. Now to cool it down, I've got some cold water in the sink. It'll come to about here on the pan. I'm just going to stick it in there and just let that cool a little. We've got our eggs and sugar mix, and our milk and cream has cooled a little at this point. Now what I want to do is add these two together, but we don't want to put all of that into there at the same time, or it will indeed scramble the eggs. So what we're going to do is get this whisked up. We're going to pour just a little in there, and we're going to mix that in thoroughly. That's looking good. Now a little bit more, and we just want to continue this little at a time until all of the milk and cream is mixed in with the eggs and sugar. With that mixed in the bowl, we're going to attempt to get it back into the pan without spilling any. Whoops. There it is. Now this is going back on the heat until it starts to thicken, and at this point we'll want to stir this continually. It's funny stuff, custard. It'll seem very liquid for a while, and then all of a sudden it'll start to thicken. So we don't want to boil it, we just want to heat it and keep it moving in the pan. We don't want it to stick to the bottom, we don't want any to burn in the corners or anything like that. So it's sort of a medium heat, not a very high heat, and it's keeping it stirring. Right, I'm going to do this and I'll come back when we have this to the right sort of consistency. Okay, now if you can see this, you can feel the weight on the whisk changing here, and that is almost there. It's sort of leaving a trace in the top of it. It's thickened up beautifully. I'm going to maybe give that another 30 seconds to a minute to make sure it's nice and thick and will set properly on this trifle. But it's this sort of consistency. Maybe, as I say, a little thicker than that. We'll let this go a little longer. All right, I'm going to say that's it there. That's leaving a nice trace. The whisk is leaving a nice trace on that, and that is going to do us just fine. Right, off the heat. And well, again, I'm going to put this in sort of bath of cold water in the sink to help it cool a little, and then we will get it into the trifle. Okay, our custard has time to cool a little. It's not fully cooled, but it's okay. It's ready to go. The jelly is set with the fruit in the bottom. That's all looking very nice indeed. Now what I'm going to do is take some of this custard and just pour it on top here, just until we get a decent amount on. Let's have a look. Oh no, we want a little bit more than that. We'll probably get all of that on there. Looking good. Now this is going back in the fridge. Probably take a couple of hours again to allow this custard to fully set. Then we shall finish this off with a beautiful layer of cream, maybe some grated chocolate on top, and that is going to be one delicious, simple summer trifle. Okay, so the next thing we want to do here is whip up this cream. This is 400 ml of whipping cream, sorry, of double cream, and I'm going to whip it up into sort of a stick. That will do it. Alright, the custard has firmed up a little, may need a little longer, but what we're going to do right now is just get this delicious cream on top of this trifle. And we're just going to spoon that on. Spread that out relatively evenly. Just have a little more left in there. Start off, I think I will indeed grate a little piece of dark chocolate on top of there. That is looking delicious. Now that's going to go back in the fridge. I'm going to leave it there for a little while, then we're going to come back, we're going to spoon some of this out, and we're going to taste it. I've got a bowl of this beautiful, simple summer trifle, and it's quite warm in the kitchen, so I'm really going to enjoy this. The custard could do with going off a little bit more, but I'm not going to let that bother me. Straight away. It's a raspberry jelly which I put in there, and that is delicious with that custard. A couple of pieces of the fruit on there. That's a very simple recipe to make this. And we have a litre, probably more than a litre, of trifle there for £3.26, meaning this serving of trifle here is 53p, which is a little on the expensive side, but it's a beautiful, beautiful dessert for the summer. A little bit of dark chocolate on top of the cream as well. It just gives it a slight sort of bitterness to the top of it. I could eat a fair amount of that. So there it is, how to make a simple summer trifle. Very versatile thing, a trifle. You can put what you want in it, really. I know very popular is to put the sponge fingers in the bottom. Maybe fresh fruits. But with this, I want to keep the cost down as far as I could, but still make a delicious dessert. And that is what this is. So if you enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more very simple recipes like this in the future, do consider subscribing to the channel. And in the meantime, I'm going to polish off the rest of this trifle, and I thank you very much for watching.